Southern Bella home. Welcome to my office. I am so excited. That may seem silly, but I have waited to have an office, a place where I could paint and draw and write and plan and do all those things, read, have my quiet time, just my own personal space. It didn't have to be a big space. It didn't have to be a fancy space. Just my own little space where I could have all my things in one place and not scattered all over the house. And I finally have it. And the reason that I'm sharing it with you is because I've really done it on a budget, like big time budget. And I want to say, hey, you can do this too. You can make a great looking space for very little money if you plan ahead. And that's what I did. I've known that I was going to have an office eventually one day, and I started picking things up here and there. And my rule was, if I love it and I can see myself using it in my office space, I'm going to get it. I knew that I did not want anything like trendy. I didn't want anything I hate to say it, but I didn't want anything too Instagrammy or too Hobby Lobby-ish. I wanted a classic farmhouse, cottage style look that was not going to go in and out of style, something that was going to stand the test of the years. I'm going to show you a tour set to music, and then I'm going to get my husband to film, and I'm going to tell you about some special things in the room. All right, let's take a look around the room and I'll explain to you some of the things that are in here that are very special to me. Well, I think one of the biggest obvious things is this giant school map. I came across this school map back when I was homeschooling my two older boys. I guess they were probably 12 and 14 when I found this. And I found it at the Rescue Mission thrift store for $9. I know it was a huge bargain then, and we looked these up. They're hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I stuck it in a corner. I knew that one day I wanted this thing on the wall of my office, and you saw, if you watched the previous video, you saw Todd having to put the hollow wall anchors in and us trying to get this thing level with these crooked farmhouse walls. But anyway, we did it, and I'm so tickled with it. If you keep rolling it down, it'll go all the way down to the floor, and it's got a map of Alaska and Hawaii up there. And one more thing about this map, it's probably from the 50s, I'm thinking, but I zoomed in on the other tour and showed you where it was made in Chicago, and you can see the age, definitely. It shows its age, but it's precious to me. I just loved all the colors, and I'll turn the light on in a minute and show you all the colors, but it's really bright in here with the light on. So next is this easel. Todd and I found this easel at the Peaches to Beaches yard sale that we have here in Georgia. It's coming up very soon, and there was this older gentleman, and he was selling some antiques, and he had two easels. And this one was the one that had paint all over it. It had much more of a patina on it, and that made me love it because I knew that somebody had really used it. And when I chose this one, he thought that I would want the newer one that was kind of in better shape. But when he told me the story, I told him that I wanted this one, and he said, well, that's a very special easel because my wife used it in college, and she traveled all over Europe. She visited the home of Shakespeare. She painted all over Europe with this easel. Well, I had to take a little break and get my assistant here. This is Miss Bella, and she was barking, so she's going to help us do the rest of the tour. So anyway, this gentleman told me that this easel had traveled all over Europe. His wife had collapsed it and carried it with her all over the place. And when I heard that, it made me so enamored with this easel. So I can't wait to get to paint in this room. And then over here, this is the little chair that I'm going to sit in as I paint. And this chair is special. This chair, we eat at a little coffee shop down the road for breakfast, and all of his bar stools are these bentwood slat chairs, and they're hard to come by. And so I found this one also at the Peaches to Beaches yard sale, but the reason that this is special is because it lived through the tornado. We had a tornado in what year, Todd? 2019? 2020. And this was in my greenhouse, and my greenhouse was demolished. And this got thrown from the greenhouse and survived intact. It does have a crack on the back of one of the legs, but it's still stable and strong, and so it has earned its place in the office. Next are these curtains. Now, the whole room was built color-wise around these curtains. My niece and I found these curtains at a Goodwill, and we both fell in love with them. She found them first, and so I patiently waited while she decided if she wanted them. And once she told me that she did not want them because she didn't think they would fit her space, I grabbed them. And I made sure it was okay with her, but I was in love with these curtains. This is my signature color, the mint green, check and plaid. Oh, that is just my love language. Check and mint green. Oh my goodness, could not walk out of the store without them. So we built the whole room around them, and then one day I was at the local thrift store and I found those. I paid for 5 of these panels, I think I paid around $20. And then and they are lined. They're super nice drapes. The finials I found at the local thrift store, I think I paid $2 or $3 for those. and they still had a tag on them from an antique store. So they were in someone's antique booth, and I guess they didn't sell, so they donated them. And then we painted a wooden dowel that's like a closet dowel and made that the curtain rod. And then next are these clipboards that you see on the wall. I don't know if you can tell, but these are like 2.5 times the length of a normal clipboard. They're huge clipboards. And one day I was in the local rescue mission, and they had these 4. These 2 were already shorter than these 2. And I just fell in love with them. I don't know why, but I could not leave the store without them. And I think I paid for the whole bundle, I think I paid maybe $5. And so when it was time to do my office, I thought, oh, won't this be really cool? Because what I can do is I can clip sketches or inspirational verses or family photos or anything that just inspires me. And that's what I'm hoping to find in this office, is lots of inspiration for my blog and for the YouTube channel and all kinds of things, art. So already I have my son's save the date for his wedding. And one of my favorite little sayings, dream it, plan it, live it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to think about what I want to accomplish, make a plan for it, and then go for it. Next is this shelf that has my large shell collection on it. I am such a fan of the beach. Like, I could live at the beach, honestly. I really could. Just a southern girl at heart that loves the beach and loves seashells. And I've had this shelf for the longest time. It actually was in my son's room when this was his room. And he had all kind of guy stuff on it. And when he left, I asked him, did he want it? He said no, so I knew it was going to be for my shell collection. And speaking of my shell collection, this lamp, the shell lamp down here, I've had it for ages. And I just loved it. It's kind of modern, but I loved it because it was made of shells. So I knew that I wanted that to go in here with the burlap shade. And the little table that it's sitting on is really not a table. It's a mirror that I bought at the thrift store for $3. And I just went on our courtyard and grabbed a plant stand that was all chippy. And I just sat the mirror on top of the plant stand and made my table. And my chair, the reading chair, I went on a search about 2 weeks ago for a reading chair. I went to Facebook Marketplace and to Craigslist. I really didn't want to spend $100 on it. But I wanted quality and I wanted style. I wanted it to be very vintage looking. And I had looked and looked and looked and couldn't find, it had to coordinate with the curtains, had to match the paint color and all of that. And this popped up after 2 weeks. This popped up, and it was basically new from Haverty's Furniture. I don't know if that's a nationwide chain, but here it's really nice furniture. And so we drove an hour and a half, right, Todd? An hour and a half to get this for $75. And it sits like a dream. It is so comfy. And my needlepoint pillows, I've collected several of these needlepoint pillows. This one is a Colonial Williamsburg replica. And then I have this one over here with the cabbage roses and the baskets that I just loved so much in our old antique office chair. And while we're here, you'll see my desk. Todd gave me this. This was one of my birthday presents because we were at a garage sale, actually an estate sale. And pretty much everything was sold. We came kind of late, but this was still there. And I fell in love with it just because of the graceful curve in the front and the curved legs. And it was in absolutely perfect condition. It had never been refinished, but the finish was, somebody had really taken good care of it. So Todd said, you want it for your birthday? I said, sure. So this is where I'll be doing my writing. And it's got my cameras and my things for my Cricut and everything stored in here. And above it is another find that we came across one day. It is an antique store zipper case. So little zippers would have been stored in each one of these pockets. And it was at a local antique store. I think we paid about $25 for it. Probably because people were thinking, what could I do with that? It was really cool, and I loved the navy blue color and the silver with the age on it. So I thought that'll be perfect to keep all my art supplies and my different scissors and pencils and pens and all those things, all my markers. So I think that worked out really well. And then, how many of you grew up with a little plastic loaf of bread with all the promises, the Bible promises? Well, I don't have the loaf of bread, but I had a china plate that has peaches on it. And since we're in Georgia, I thought that was appropriate. And a seashell with my business cards. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was the shelf over here behind the door. We came across this shelf. I think it's kind of unusual with the rick-rack on the sides. Came across this on Facebook Marketplace for $19. And my son and I drove about 45 minutes away to pick it up. It's solid pine. And over here I've got all of my books and my Cricut, my binders, my sewing machine, all of my art supplies down there, some of the books I'm ready to read, my Bible study notebooks. And I said that was the last thing, but that's not the last thing. Todd, look up and show him the chandelier. This chandelier looks quite different than it did the day we brought it home. Todd and I were going down the road, and we're bad about, if we see a yard sale sign, we'll pull in. And there was a sign by the road, and it said estate sale Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, it was Sunday. So you can imagine how picked over everything was. But as we walked up, the person who was in charge said, everything's 90% off. We were like, okay. So this was a really, really old farmhouse, and this was in a box over in the corner. And the glass, it was so heavily coated in dirt and grime, it looked like yellow glass. But we cleaned it, and Todd put a medallion up there, and now I'm going to turn it on and show you how it makes a beautiful floral pattern on the ceiling. So I have a flower up there all the time when the light's on. And I don't know if the camera picks up the rainbow prisms, the light hitting the crystal. So I hope y'all like it. Let me know in the comments what you think of my home office. And if you have done a thrift store, antique store room yourself, I'd love to hear about it. Until the next video, keep home sweet. And may the good Lord bless and keep you until we talk again. Bye, y'all.